All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakhakwadash, double honors to the men of great millstone who teach and rule well. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there pushing this truth in all sincerity. Excuse me. Throughout the four corners of the earth, this is your brother Tabalia Yakwana coming at you with a video on, and I'm going to entitle it, Grave of 215 Native Children Found, Israelites, Tribe of Gad. And that's, this news is a little old, quote unquote old. I think it might be about 2 weeks since this has happened, but I had it on my to-do lessons, and I just want to, through the Spirit, Lord willing, edify some brothers on the tribe of Gad and on this devil, which is Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man. And so let's go ahead and go into a scripture right off the jump. The Gadites, or the so-called Indians, they're a warrior tribe, and they are Israelites. And there's a lot of camps out there that think they're not Israelites, and they say they're not Israelites. And it's kind of perplexing, I guess, because you don't really have to do too much researching to figure out that these peoples, our people, are Israelites like us, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the Native Americans. They have more relics proving that fact than the actual Negroes, that are leading, the tribe of Judah. Southern tribes are leading the charge, in numbers, it seems. But the so-called Indians and the Hispanics, or the Latinos, are Israelites as well. This is Genesis 49:3. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Now, the Reubenites are also the so-called Indians. The Reubenites, a lot of them are actually a darker complected population of Israelites, and a lot of them look like Negroes, but they're Israelites, and they would be the so-called Seminole Indians. They have a very ruling class mentality, and their dress is very lavish. They have a royal mentality. If you look through any books on the so-called Indians, especially the tribe of Reuben and the Gadites, they dress very lavishly. They look like a royal people, and so for them to be called Indians, which means savage, or goes back to the word savage, is just it's just a slap in the face, man. This devil, he's gonna do whatever and anything. When you know that this devil is the enemy, then you know that everything that he does is when it pertains to the Israelites, is not. It's not in their favor, i.e., this C19er thing. All of a sudden they want to act like they love you, and the whole time they've been showing that they don't for hundreds of years, man. So let's get back to the scripture. So the Reubenites, which are also the so-called Indians, their dress is lavish. They have feathers and buckskin, fringes, which show that they're Israelites. Animal bones and claws and stones and beautiful pottery and hit the head garb, and they're outgoing. Verse 4, Genesis 49:4, unstable as water, which means they're nomadic. And that was, and that was mainly due to them fighting Esau a lot. They had to move around a lot, through the spirit. That's what that's pertaining to. Scripture reads, unstable as water, thou shalt not excel. So they could not defeat Esau. Because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defilest thou it. He went up to my couch. And so that goes into when Reuben had Salakia. He slept with Jacob's concubine. That's in Genesis 35:22. So Seminole actually means runaway or wild one. So that also is a kind of an omen to their instability. It's kind of, it can go left on you real quick, kind of unpredictable. This is going down to Genesis 49:19. Gad, the Gadites are the so-called, the ones that are the so-called Indians that are depicted in movies and in history books, the long black hair and the copper tone. It reads Genesis 49:19, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, because he shall overcome at the last. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, and that troop is speaking of Esau. Esau basically damn near wiped out Gad, even though Gad is still around. Damn near wiped him out. Gad actually does mean troop also. And it reads, but he shall overcome at the last. So eventually the Gadites will get this truth and wake up more of them. Now there are Gadites that profess this truth, or the truth, but as it stands right now, northern tribes are kind of deep in a deep sleep. So getting back to that was just a real quick breakdown of a couple tribes of the so-called Indians, or the Seminoles, and Gad has probably hundreds of tribes: Cherokees, Choctaws, the Sioux. The list goes on and on and on. So now we're going to show a clip of this news on 215 Native children that were found buried in a grave of a residential school that had closed already, but these residential schools were run by priests and nuns, and that's the Catholic Church. And these residential schools were set up to basically conform, or to attempt to conform, the native aboriginal populations, or the Gadites, and basically absorb them, or try to get them to conform to Esau's world. And they found a grave of 215 children, and this just goes up it's just one of very many atrocities that the Israelites face when dealing with this so-called white man, or Esau, or Edomites. They smile in your face, stab you in the back, say one thing, do another. And it always goes down like that. And, a lot of times, Jake doesn't want to keep the score. So let's go into...
Believed anybody. Nobody believed the people here. The children, the kids. Can you imagine how horrific it was to watch somebody die and you don't even know why?
Albeit smiling for the camera in this archival footage, the reality at the Kamloops school and others like it was very different. For over half a century, ending in the 1970s, 150,000 children were required to enroll in Christian church-run schools, often by force. Many were subjected to rape, torture, and starvation. Thousands never returned home.
Like the white schools didn't want us.
What do you want? I mean, we've heard statements, we've heard apologies, we've heard so many things here. But what do you need now? What do members of the community need now beyond an apology?
Apology doesn't mean anything to me personally, and what I want the people to know that this went on. It was all hush-hush by the priests and the nuns, and I want the whole world to know what we went through at Kamloops, and it was like this in all the residential schools, not just in Kamloops. And I just want the whole world to know what went on, what happened to us. Like we were forced to. It wasn't a choice. In high school, it was a choice.